Hello, I'm Bert van Elst and I lead IT for manufacturing and supply chain in GSK Vaccines. On the picture to the right you see our GSK headquarters in Belgium. We have several thousands of employees working there. Prior to this role I was leading IT for global R&D from discovery to process development over clinical and reg affairs to medical. And prior to joining GSK I was in Big Five consulting with PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and IBM, focusing on IT strategy, process redesign and system implementations with pharma and fast-moving consumer goods industry clients. In more recent roles, where I'm contributing significantly to our digital transformation agenda. And today I would like to share a few examples of areas of focus and their challenges and opportunities. Let me start by providing some information regarding GSK and GSK Vaccines. GSK is a science-led global healthcare company that helps people do more, feel better and live longer. GSK Vaccines is one of the key businesses of GSK. In vaccines we are located in 8 countries and you can see a map on the top of the slide. And we have production sites we have 10 production sites and 3 research and development centers. In North America we have 4 sites, 3 in US and 1 in Canada. In Europe we have sites in Belgium, Germany, France, Italy and Hungary. And in Asia we have our Singapore site. Our GSK Vaccines headquarters in Belgium, and that's where I'm based as well. And I have around 10,000 GSK Vaccines colleagues there. The impact of vaccination on global public health is tremendous, as illustrated by the numbers in the green boxes on the slide to the right. Our vaccines, our GSK vaccines, makes meaningful contributions as well. 40% of the world's children receive at least one GSK vaccine. And we produce and distribute 2 million doses per day to around 160 countries. So today, I would like to take 20 minutes to explain the key pillars of the digital transformation at GSK. I will use 3 examples to illustrate our digital transformation touching on operations, data science and the collaboration in the broader world. I will share examples of the digital twin we've developed for some of our novel manufacturing techniques, in this case microfluidics technology. I will share an example to standardize structured data across the development and supply chain. And I'll touch on our next generation manufacturing system platforms and make the link with what this actually means for a production supervisor on the shop floor. And then I will conclude with some takeaway messages. Let's have a look first at the strategic perspective. In GSK, our strategy is centered around innovation, performance, trust and culture. And on the right-hand side of the slide, you see the 5 pillars of our IT strategy. Future-proofing, the first of the 5, is about having systems and applications that are modern, flexible and integrated. From a features, roadmap and architectural perspective. With of course a lot of attention for cloud, due to the fact that cloud gives access to innovation, to scalability, and also it allows us to focus on what matters for us. The second one, agile ways of working, is about discovering user needs and experimenting and scaling to ensure feasibility, viability and desirability of the solution we design, build and deploy. And you and us, we call them products these days. These solutions are agile products. The third area, skill transformation, is focusing on bringing staff up to speed with new technologies like cloud and cybersecurity, software engineering, data analytics, robotics, process automation and more like that. We also have 10 strategic partners with which we co-create in our global IT organization. And some of these are mentioned on slide 10. Finally, robust core is about robust infrastructure such as networks, services that includes high performance computing, databases, that includes cloud storage, operating systems, that includes virtualization, a big challenge in manufacturing as well. And the underlining, all that to underlie the solution and the products we deploy. Robust core will enable internal-external collaboration, for instance in the clinic, operational technology, cybersecurity controls, wireless in our factory and in our labs in quality and research and development. So these are the 5 pillars of global GSK IT. So like I said today, I would like to bring 3 examples forward in the context of our value chain. And like other pharmaceutical companies, our value chain consists of research, to the left on the slide, process development, where we develop the process to produce something, clinical development, reg affairs, medical and commercial, and manufacturing and supply. On the left hand of the slide, you see the contribution of these to scientific and operational productivity. Scientific is more in R&D, operational productivity is more in manufacturing and supply, and the contribution to enabling the best science. Each example that I will bring up contributes to these 2 on the left hand side. So first of all, I'll take you to the digital twin that allows us to run digital in silico, so in a computer, digital experiments up to 500 overnight. And that compares to plus minus 10 experiments per day on a wet bench in a lab. So that's a factor of 50 more scientific experiments thanks to the digital twin. Digital twin also contributes to the golden batch. A golden batch is a production run leading to the perfect product quality. The second example I will touch on is IDMP, and I'll explain to you what that means in the next slide. Also, product lifecycle management is a solution we've put in that context, and that contributes to data integration across the value chain, contributes to our license to operate, and also to advanced analytics in our data products. Finally, paperless manufacturing automation contributes to process efficiency, compliance, and robustness. And of course, I skip a few areas. We have other areas where we have an advanced digital agenda. And just to give you one example, in research, we do the capture, transfer, storage, and processing of genomics data, so the DNA data. Recently, a number that spoke a lot to me was the following. 10 years of clinical trials generate as much information as one run of high-density cryo-electron microscopy. That is a way we study the shapes of proteins. So 10 years of clinical, one run of cryo-electron microscopy, the same number of data generated. Also in medical and commercial we have a strong digital focus, but research and medical are not areas where I will focus on today. So let's zoom into the first example. The slide explains what a digital twin is, and in general terms it's a virtual digital equivalent of a process, a product or a service. It consists of a physical part, of a virtual part, and the connections between them. You can find the digital twin in various industries, like in electronics, in brewery industries, in semiconductor industries, etc. Now also in GSK vaccines, we have built a process design digital twin proof of concept with our automation partners. The digital twin allows in silico, I used that before, digital production process development, and will, after technology transfer to commercial manufacturing, also allow advanced process control in manufacturing operations. The reasons for building a digital twin is scientific process understanding, the impact on technology transfer from R&D to commercial manufacturing, the potential it has on time to market, process robustness, and the manufacturing lead time. And building the digital twin, we did overcome challenges concerning IoT and sensors to connect to the equipment, process analytical technology tooling to allow inline measurement of process and product quality, operational technology connectivity, the OT technology, real-time data pipelines, machine learning model building, and other challenges. But let me share with you what this practically means dynamically in the vaccines manufacturing process in development for now, for one of the critical components to our vaccines. And that takes us to the next slide. So, on the left-hand side of the slide, on the top line, you see the quality attribute of the product we produce. That's the product specification here measured is the liposome particle size. Further down on the left side, you see the critical process parameters that you can control in your production process. Temperature and flow rates of the two components making up the liposome particles. So let's activate the dynamics now of the digital twin. As time progresses, you see the temperature perturbation. The temperature first goes up and then goes down and then goes up again. The digital twin comes in actions to correct the flow rate, and the bottom left side of the slide, the flow rate to compensate for the temperature variations and keeps the product quality within specification. So on the top line you see that everything stays within green, reflected by that traffic light. The product quality is within spec, and we've compensated with process controls for the temperature variation. Further to the right of the same slide, you see what would have happened without the digital twin in action. So basically you see that there's no compensation for the temperature drop and then increase, and you see on the top line that the product specification is going out of spec and that the batch would be lost. Now let me show that again. So we have the quality attribute on the top line that we measure. We have a temperature perturbation that is corrected against with the flow rate so that the product stays within spec, reflected by that green traffic light. And then again, if we would not have had the digital twin, you would see that there is no way to compensate for a temperature variation, and you would see that the product goes out of spec and the batch would be lost, reflected by that red curve on the top and the red traffic light. The second example I would like to share talks about our response to the identification of medicinal products regulations, identification of medicinal products regulation of EMA, the European Agency for Drugs, and the FDA. Now IDMP is an ISO data standard for consistent referential pharmaceutical substance data across the value chain. So from preclinical to process development to clinical to reg affairs to manufacturing and supply and medical. Now on the left hand side you see the ISO IDMP data model reflecting things like pharmaceutical product, substance, market authorization data, etc. So it's an integrated data sets for our products. Now we took the opportunity in GSK Vaccines to move away from electronic unstructured, so think a Word document or an Excel sheet, to move away from electronic unstructured product, process and specification data in R&D to structured data, so think a structured set of fields in a database. We took the data structuring from where it is consumed at the end of the value chain in reg and medical to where it is created. So create structured data right from the start in preclinical very often, before we go in the clinic for human trials. And we leverage this solution, a product lifecycle management solution, as a huge data integration opportunity, far beyond the more narrow initial compliance objective. And the solution was inspired in a talk in 2017 with a global fast-moving consumer good company, and they said that they use product lifecycle management for compliance, time to market and cost efficiency. Now on our side, Compliance, time to market and cost efficiency is at the core of what we need to do in development as well for our processes and products. On the bottom of the slide you can see with the blue dots there how a product evolves from left to right, from basic information, structured information, and gradually adding layers that you come to a product which is much enriched, which is ready to transfer and commercial manufacturing. And all that is also being version controlled and lifecycle management. The third column on the slide reflects the solution space. The solution space includes SAP for product lifecycle management, Viva's regulatory information management system for submissions and product variations management, and Microsoft Azure for data integration, data visualization and data science. The value generated from this impacted our license to operate globally, data integrity, but also traceability and efficiency through data integration for business intelligence and data science. On the right bottom image you can see the IDMP graph database, graph representation of one of our products at the SKU, the stock keeping unit level. So that was the second example I wanted to share. I would like to conclude with a third example around paperless manufacturing and automation. We are at GSK Vaccines modernizing our manufacturing operations. In the introduction, I mentioned we produce vaccines in 8 countries and 10 sites with more than 10,000 staff in vaccines manufacturing and supply. The next generation manufacturing execution systems, they are called MES, holds wave 1 and wave 2 benefits on operational efficiency and effectiveness. Also benefits for process lead time, for instance, the process to do batch reviews, holds benefits on compliance and also process robustness. The modern platform will allow us to link together paperless manufacturing, automation and also the machine learning empowered digital twins in order to steer process execution in real time, like for instance the semiconductor industries and the global breweries do since some years. Challenges are not only related to the system deployment, but also, and even more, related to process simplification and standardization globally, and the people's capability to work in a digital manner. Now let's take a look at what this means for a shop floor supervisor. So this is Marco. He's a shop floor supervisor and produces vaccines to plan and in compliance, and he's embedded in a continuous learning organization. He uses modern integrated technology to perform value-add activities in a paperless way. He uses control towers and digital twin to oversee and steer production execution in real time. And he uses product, process, equipment and operator data to drive process robustness. Key tech enablers for Marco are the modern manufacturing execution system platform, the digital twin for process robustness, the industrial scale secured operational technology network, the IoT sensor connectivity and data pipelines, the trusted data for KPIs and artificial intelligence machine learning models, and structured data coming from R&D via the integrated data technology transfer processes. Let me recap and share a few conclusions with you. So, working agile, focusing on value. And in the intro, I mentioned to focus on viability, feasibility, desirability, to experiment and design, build and upscale solutions. I share 3 examples of our digital transformation across the value chain. The digital twin, data standardization across the industry, and manufacturing automation. And this is much more than systems. It's about people and capabilities, processes, and technology and systems. The master data is the fuel of the processes, and data standards like IDMP is a common currency of collaborating beyond the boundaries of your company. I explained the that leveraging our strong GSK Tech Foundation is very important. That was reflected by the 5 pillars that we apply in all we do. Global processes are supported by global solutions. That is also very important. And I also wanted to share my favorite topic these days. Trusted data comes from robust processes, leads to data insights for action to be taken again via processes. So it's a loop, data and processes. Processes and data amplify each other in today's digital world more than ever before. Thank you for your attention, and I hope we'll meet in the panel discussion later today.